So if you're a regular viewer here, you'll already know that the phone I'm using every day right now is the iPhone 14 Pro. And while I gave most of my thoughts on it in a video that I'll link right up here, I didn't go a whole lot into how I actually use the phone every day and what all apps and everything else I have on it, so that's what I'm doing today. So probably one of the most important parts of using your phone is kind of like the cases and accessories you use with it, right? So I have three main things here I'm going to be talking about. First of all is the case I'm using. Now, I actually don't always use a case. I often go without a case, but I do like to have a good case on hand in case I need one. In case I need one. Anyways. So I've been using the Rebel series from Phone Rebel, and I really love this case. I have basically nothing but good things to say about it. Like I said, I just have the Rebel series, but there's a crystal and then frosted one if you like that look instead. But the Rebel, yeah, I think still looks pretty good, offers a lot of protection, has raised edges and stuff, so you get full protection all around, but it's still kind of cut down across the bottom and on the sides, so using gestures to navigate around your phone is still really easy and really nice. Now, one thing I actually really love about this case, something cases that always drove me nuts that people didn't really talk about was the buttons. A lot of cases I just hate it. You have to like use your fingernail and really jam on the buttons in order to get it to click, but the buttons on this case are amazing. They're literally made of metal, and you can actually pop them out and get replacements if you want, with like different colors, which is kind of cool, but right now I'm just using the black. But they click so easily. Sometimes actually almost too easily where like the volume up or something will click when I'm sliding it into my pocket. But yeah, it's basically just as easy as you normally would write on the phone, which I love. And it does support MagSafe. It's not technically like MagSafe compatible as it doesn't have the NFC tag. So when you put it on your phone, you don't get like a pop-up telling you what color it is, which I honestly found kind of annoying when I did have an official MagSafe case for my iPhone 12. Every time I put it on, it'd be like a pop. I'm like, yeah, I know this is a clear case. Just get out of the way now. I want to use my phone, right? Yeah, and does actually have really strong magnets, significantly stronger than the ones right in the phone. Yeah, it just holds things on nicer. So I can definitely recommend this case. It's not the cheapest, but I think it's definitely worth the money. It comes with a screen protector, which is basically a normal screen protector. Nothing very special there. Yeah, it does come with a screen protector. Really nice case, and it's really not that expensive. So yeah, I can definitely recommend you guys getting this, and I'll put a link down in the description to this. And I also have links to a lot of the other products and apps and services I'm talking about. Not something we all have to do with our phones all the time. For me, this is overnight. For some of the people, it might not necessarily always be at night. But that is charging our phones. And the thing I've been using for quite a while now is the Anker 633 wireless charger. So it's a nice stand. It uses MagSafe. You can just click your phone on there. Again, this is one place where I've noticed actually that the magnets in the Phone Rebel case are actually quite a bit stronger than just the normal iPhone, but it can still easily hold your phone up, and you can switch it into portrait mode if you want, to be able to hold it up while you're watching stuff, whatever. But as you might notice, it's not just a charger, it's also a 5,000 milliamp hour battery pack, which is really nice. You can, if you're going to be traveling or anything, that's one of the nicest times I've found it. You can just slap it on there. And yeah, it'll give you extra juice. It can only ever charge at 7.5 watts. Unfortunately, yeah, like I said, I charge overnight, and so that's not really a big deal for me. And throughout the day, yeah, you're not going to get like super fast charging from it, but you can put it on and basically almost double your iPhone's battery, which is really cool. And then there's also just a regular old wireless charger lying at the bottom, which is kind of mainly designed to be used for AirPods, but it's a regular wireless charger, so it can work with anything. You can even lay a phone across there if you want. But yeah, it's just a wireless charger, nice to be able to just kind of toss stuff there. And I do have this sitting in like a base. I actually designed and 3D printed myself. Yeah, that holds the Anker 633 as well as a little place for my Apple Watch charger, which is really nice to be able to just have them there. But yeah, and I'll probably link that as well. Yeah, I could definitely recommend it. Again, not the cheapest thing around, but I think the fact that you're getting a really good charger, essentially two chargers, plus a MagSafe battery pack as well, is just really nice. And yeah, when it's charging, it's just basically using pass-through. But that battery's always going to be full, which is really nice. You don't have to worry about recharging it, because all you got to do is stick it on there, and whenever you need the battery pack, it's nice and full. It does have a USB-C port on, which you can use to charge up the battery pack if, again, you're traveling and you don't have the base. But you can also use that to just use it like a normal power bank to charge anything else as well. And the third accessory that I've been using lately, this is the one I've actually been using the least, I just got it about a month ago, is actually a MagSafe wallet from ESR. their Halo lock series. Again, MagSafe compatible, but not technically fully MagSafe because it doesn't have that NFC. This actually goes for the Anchor charger as well. I didn't mention that. Obviously, it supports MagSafe, but yeah, it's technically not fully made for iPhone, whatever, certified and everything. But yeah, it works really well. Magnets in this thing are pretty strong. And you can see I have the card on the outside here. And you might notice it's quite a bit thicker than a lot of other MagSafe wallets. And it is, but that's because you can just open it up and see that there's room for 2 more cards inside, which is really nice. Kind of the reason I actually got this thing. Yeah, it just holds quite a lot. On the left here, there's a pocket for a card. I often just have some folded up, 1 or 2 bills of cash in there just for whatever I need in case I need it. And on the right side, there's a clear pocket for ID, which I do not have in there for obvious reasons. But yeah, I would normally have my driver's license there. And the pockets can be a bit stiff at first to slide cards in and out of, but once you use it for a little while, it kind of loosens up. It's made of vegan leather. I just have the black version kind of to go with my case, and the iPhone is dark. It's not black, but yeah, dark. So it kind of just goes with that, but they have some other color options as well. And really the cool thing about it is that it opens up, and so you can actually use it as a kickstand too, to just stand your phone up at basically any angle. The hinge in this thing is really nice. I will say at first when I got it, it kind of like stuck a little bit, but yeah, after using it for a little while, it's really nice. It'll basically stay open at any angle, works great. Yeah, you can hold your phone up, you can turn your phone sideways on it if you want to be able to watch stuff again. Just really nice. So yeah, I actually don't necessarily have this thing on my phone like all the time, but it's usually just like laying here on my desk. So if I'm going to be going somewhere, I just slap it on the back of my phone and I'm good to go instead of having to get another wallet, or anything. And it's just right there on the back of my phone anywhere I go. And actually a quick little tangent here, kind of. This isn't really an issue with any of these products specifically, it's just kind of all of them, and it's not really their fault. So I said that the magnets in the Phone Rebel case are fairly strong, and the magnets in the iPhones themselves are actually fairly strong as well to be able to easily use these things that I use every day. But one thing I've noticed is that that little magnet there below, which is kind of to help keep things aligned, is really weak in like everything. It's just small, and it's a little bit frustrating sometimes because it just doesn't quite hold it there. I wish it would be a little stronger. I notice it more when I'm using things directly on the my iPhone, partially because, like I said, the magnets in there overall are weaker, but also the back of the phone is just more slippery. With the case on, it's a little more grippy, so things can just hold on more, especially when it comes to sliding, just like spinning around like that. Now let's get into what's actually on my phone here, starting with the lock screen. So this wallpaper I'm using is just purple to black gradient that I made myself, and it's definitely really simple, but I do like it, and it's kind of just what I keep coming back to. I do switch around and mess with other wallpapers and complete lock screen setups, and you'll see that soon here. But yeah, this is just the one I kind of keep coming back to, and so yeah, this is kind of what my main one has been for quite a while now. I also love the ability to add widgets to the lock screen now, and I definitely do change things around here again quite a bit, but this is the main ones that I've been coming back to. I've stuck with these a lot. So starting up top here above the clock, I just have the date. I didn't add anything else special there, but then below the time here, I have, first of all, the hourly forecast from my favorite weather app, Carrot, and again, I'll get into some of my favorite apps and stuff a little later on. And then right next to that, I just have a widget from TickTick, which is my favorite kind of to-do list app and stuff, and it just shows my to-do list and what I have to do done that day. It's really nice to be able to just see that at a glance right there, right on the lock screen. Now for probably one of the most important parts of your iPhone, that is the home screen. Just swipe up the lock screen and you'll see here that I have the same wallpaper as my lock screen. Like I said, this can change as well here. Just like the lock screen, this is kind of the same main one that I keep coming back to that I'm mainly using. I might switch to something for a little while and then, even just a day or two, and I just find myself coming back to this because it's kind of just what I like. And the first thing you'll probably notice is that there's only apps in the bottom. And normally Apple doesn't like that. The way I'm actually doing this is with an app called MD Blank. And basically, it's not actually transparent. Basically, you take a screenshot of your empty home screen, put it into the app, and then add widgets from that app to your home screen and just tell it wherever it is, and it'll look like it's exactly the same, which is really cool. It works really well. It's a free app. I think there's some other paid apps and stuff that might do the same thing, but this one's worked well for me so far. And yeah, so if you have your phone automatically switch from light to dark mode like me, you'll have to take a screenshot for each, and then it'll just automatically switch with that. But if you swipe on any one of these, you'll see that these are actually all widget stacks, which means there's other widgets below them. So I'm just going to quickly run through all the different widgets I use. So first of all, at the top here, I have a medium-sized widget, or whatever they call it exactly. Swipe up, the first one here is just a widget that shows the verse of the day from the Bible app. Yeah, just nice to see that throughout the day whenever. Yeah, quick read that, open it up to see the full verse. If it's a long verse, it won't all fit on there. But yeah, I just like to have that there. Swipe up again, and you'll see my widget for TickTick, which I'll get more into these apps later, but this is my kind of to-do list app that I like to use. It just shows all the tasks I have for today. Yeah, again, it's just nice to see that. I have that on the lock screen as well, you know. Just nice to be able to see that at a glance and be able to open it up and check things off as I do them. Next is the widget from the Google app, so I can very quickly make a little Google search or do a voice search if I want. Yeah, stuff like that. Just, I would say by far the most I use that for is to be able to quickly access the Google search, type something in, get an answer, whatever. And then right after that is the Recents widget from Notion, which again, I'll talk about these apps a little later, but this is the Notes app that I use most of the time. And yeah, it's basically going to show me recent things I've been working on, so I can hop right back into it if I need to. So the next widget stack here is going to have the clock widget, which I kind of just have because it looks cool, I think, for the most part. I think it fits with the rest of my setup pretty well, and yeah, it's just, yeah, I think it looks nice. And then also, right after that there, we have the battery widgets, so just nice way to quickly see battery percentages for my phone, watch, AirPods, whatever. Yeah, my connected devices. Then right next to that is another widget stack. The first one obviously is the MD blank one. But then I have the sleep widget, just to be able to, yeah, I guess quickly see how long I slept, whatever, or click on it to see more details about it. And then I also have the screen time widget to be able to just see how much time I've spent on my phone today. Nice to be able to see at a glance, and it kind of just gives you a quick little view of the different categories that you've been using your phone for. Go ahead and click on that to be able to see more. Finally, I have another widget stack, kind of mainly based around like entertainment and stuff. So basically I have two there, the Apple Music one to show me my recently played stuff, and then Pocket Cast, which has been my podcasting app that I've used for quite a while. Again, just shows me the recently played one, so I can get right back into that if I need to. Now, I've actually recently switched to YouTube Music for both my music and podcast listening, and I'll talk a lot more about that later. Yeah, I've been using that more, so I probably should actually just replace both these widgets with that one, but I haven't gotten to it yet, I guess. Now, obviously, as soon as I switch to another wallpaper here, these MD blank widgets are not going to look right. And so I do have another kind of home screen set up, and I'm not going to go completely into everything that's on it. A lot of it is still kind of the same. I have a lot of the same widgets and stuff. And then also at the bottom, I have the Siri Suggested widget, which I really love that widget. It just shows apps that it thinks you might want to use based on what you've been using. And if you use certain apps around certain times during the day, it'll recommend those. It's really nice to just be right there. And yeah, it'll switch around, and I'll more than often find the app I need right there. So if you look closely, or some of you probably already noticed this, I'm not actually using the default icons for any of the apps on my home screen. And yeah, basically I am achieving this through shortcuts. Yeah, and I actually did make each of them myself. I basically just took screenshots of the app icon themselves, put it into Pixelmator Pro, and used the color fill to be able to make it to look like what I want. For the most part, is what I've done. And then yeah, through shortcuts on the iPhone 14 Pro, you do get a little animation up in the dynamic island, which is kind of just annoying, but it's just like a couple seconds and it goes away. And if you are going to do this on older iPhones with a notch or anything, you do get basically a little notification. And it's really stupid that there's no way to turn them off. But there's no way to turn them off. I don't know why. Again, I think it's just like a second or two, and then it goes away just like it will in the dynamic island on the iPhone 14 Pro. But yeah, you really don't notice it, at least not for me. And I really like having my home screen look the way I want to instead of having to use all the default icons. And if you're wondering how to do this and a little more in depth of, yeah, how to get your home screen looking like this, with your custom icons, I might consider making a full video on it. So leave a comment if you want to see a video about that. Now let's get into some of the apps that I'm using basically every day. First of all is the YouTube Studio app, which obviously is just so I can go in and check how my channel's been doing, and yeah, whatever else, quick see information there without having to go on my computer to, yeah, see everything there. yeah, nice to be able to see that stuff in the app right there. I use it fairly often, so it's on my home screen. Right next to that is WhatsApp, and I'll be honest, I actually really hate WhatsApp, kind of, but so many people use it that I almost feel like I have to have it, right? And I do use it basically every day. But yeah, I would like it if I didn't have to use it, and I don't think I will be using it once Apple actually pulls on their big boy pants and supports RCS already. I also have Notion on my home screen, which is kind of my note-taking app and whatever of my choice. It looks very simple, and I really like it. I use it a lot for my YouTube stuff. This is kind of the app where video ideas come into existence and develop into eventually being a full script that I can make into a video here. And it looks really simple, and that's kind of why I like it, but it's actually has tons and tons of features, and I know that I do not nearly use all of them, but I've seen some of the things that people can do with these, and it's kind of just insane, all the things you can have. I don't get into all that, but it's still really useful for me. It's free. Pretty much all these apps I'm talking about today actually are free. Yeah, this one is. I guess I use it probably more on my computer, just the web app. But I do use it on my phone quite a bit as well. Just kind of check out with things, or if I have a video idea, I can quick jot it down there. Right. And then beside that is TickTick, which I mentioned is kind of my to-do list app of choice. And it's a pretty simple one. It's not much more complicated than reminders or anything. Really, I just love how when you go on, it's by default, you kind of just have today, your today list there to see everything you have to do that day. It's really nice. Don't have to be bombarded by all the stuff coming up that week or anything. But you can still easily schedule things for certain days. I have to do this day, this day, right? But yeah, I just really like it. It's really simple. And again, TickTick as well, like Notion, has quite a few features that I'm not really using. I'm basically just using it pretty simply. But yeah, I do enjoy using it, and it's really useful and really nice for me. So down on the dock here, which obviously is the only thing that basically always stays there, even when I switch wallpapers. First of all, we just have the default Messages app, which some people don't really like. I find it pretty useful. I mean, it's the default one, so you kind of have to have it, right? And I do like using iMessage when I can, although there's definitely people that will argue that, yeah, iMessage is not very good. But yeah, I do like it as long as I'm texting someone else that can use iMessage. Next to that is Spark, which is the email app that I use most of the time. Kind of the reason I liked it and originally got it is that it handles having multiple emails really well, so you can have, I don't even know if there's a limit to how many emails you can have signed in, but I have quite a few signed in, and yeah, everything's just going to show up right on the inbox list, all your emails. It's going to put anything it thinks is spam right into the spam folder, so you can go in there and delete that once in a while, whatever. You don't have to always have that in the way. And yeah, you can click on your individual emails to see the inboxes for just those as well if you want. And I do like their smart inbox that kind of can categorize your emails and just help a little bit, to be able to declutter and just be able to go through your emails and figure out what to respond to and all that. Now, this next app is probably the one I've been using the least amount of time here, and that is my browser, Arc. And I'll say this, I love the Mac app. I'm thinking of doing a full video on the Mac app. I absolutely love it, my favorite browser ever. But the mobile version just isn't quite there yet. It's kind of made as a companion app for the Mac app, which I actually like. I think that's a really good idea, but there's still just pretty many features lacking on the mobile version. But yeah, it is right there. That's usually the one I just go to. However, one of the features that is lacking is that you can't actually set it as your iOS default browser for some reason, which is kind of annoying. So for my browser, I do have Orion, which is basically just a fork of Safari. It has built-in tracker and ad blockers and stuff, so that's kind of nice. Other than that, it's a lot like Safari, yeah. And so yeah, that had been the browser I've been using for a long time. I still recommend it, and I still use it quite a bit. Like I said, anytime I click a link or anything, it's going to open up there because I can't yet set Arc as my default browser. Finally is the music app, and you'll notice that this looks like the icon for Apple Music, but if you click on it, it's actually YouTube Music. Because I did use Apple Music, I mentioned this before, but yeah, used Apple Music for a while, switched to YouTube Music, so I just have that there. Really, I'm liking it so far. I think it's pretty good value that it is YouTube Premium plus the entirety of YouTube Music all in one place. But yeah, I would say one of the other really big things I like about it is actually podcasts. So music and podcasts are right together there, and a lot of the podcasts that I listen to are video podcasts on YouTube, and so it's really nice that they show up right in there, and I can be watching the video, and then I have to go do something, just turn my phone off and keep going, and I can keep on listening to it without having to switch between different apps, and try to figure out where I was. And even if I'm on my computer just on YouTube and start watching the podcast, go off it, later go on my phone, want to keep going, I can keep doing that. It's just right where I left off. Really nice. I'd say that's probably one of the favorite things that I'm liking about YouTube Music so far. Now there's a couple other apps that I use basically every day that aren't on the home screen, or maybe are in widget form on the home or lock screen. So yeah, I'm just going to kind of give a little bit of an honorable mention to these because they're not on my home screen, but I still use them a lot. First of all is Carrot Weather. This is the weather app that I've been using for quite a while. I also sometimes just use Apple's weather as well. I kind of do both, compare them. Yeah. But Carrot has been my main one. And yeah, I just like it because it's kind of funny. It has a witty sense of humor. Yeah, you can change kind of how spicy it is with the way it tells you the weather. And it can get into insulting you, and you can get into politics and all that. But yeah, so it's just kind of funny. That's mainly the reason I got it. But it is a pretty good app as well. Another app I kind of already mentioned is Orion. So this is my default browser in iOS, but it's only my default because I can't make Arc my default, basically. It's still a good browser. I can recommend it. Arc, I can't recommend to everyone because it's hardly even a full browser yet. Yeah, like I said, Orion is kind of like Safari. It's going to function a lot like Safari, so if that's what you're used to, I can definitely recommend it. It has built-in tracker and ad blockers, so that's just nice peace of mind to be able to browse all your websites without having to worry about that thing. And one more quick thing, if you're looking for a really good photo editing app, I can highly recommend Pixelmator Photo. I mentioned Pixelmator Pro, which is a Mac app that I've used. It's kind of like photo editing / graphic design all into one. It's the app I use for my thumbnails and stuff mostly, but also photo editing. But yeah, the same company made an iPhone app. It's not really around graphic design, it's more around photo editing. But if you're into that, it's a really good app. I really like it. It's very powerful. You can do a lot of stuff with it. And it is pretty much the only app, I think, in this video at all that I've talked about that isn't free. But I can definitely recommend it. So if you're looking for a good mobile photo editing app, there's one for you. Obviously, these aren't like the only apps I use all the time. There's some other ones that I didn't really mention, but I think, yeah, I've talked about most of the ones that I feel are worthy of being mentioned in this video. Now, some of you might have actually noticed that there's a couple apps that you might have expected me to have that I didn't talk about here. Yeah, all the big social media apps, and that's because I actually deleted basically all of them. And if you want to see why I did that and what the results were, you can check out this video right here.